Hello students, my name is Udara Soisa at Attorney at Law. I've been lecturing University of London students for nearly a decade now. So in these presentations, I hope to go deep inside certain areas of your LLB syllabus, and I hope you will start learning to appreciate the beauty of your University of London programs and start reading your textbooks, subject guides and other materials. The exams are coming up on me, and this is a great opportunity for you to score well. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will enjoy these videos. Thank you. In today's presentation, we will have a look at your public law syllabus, and I would like to prepare you for your upcoming public law paper. Let me try to connect everything together. The starting point of your public law analysis is to figure out what is public law. Public law is the relationship or the law that governs the relationship between state, public, within the state, etc. So the starting point is you need to understand what is state. So there are three organs of a state. So every state, every democratic state, every current contemporary state would have these three organs. First, there would be the legislative. Secondly, you have the executive. Finally, you have the judiciary. Legislature makes the law, right? Legislature makes law. Executive enforces the law. Judiciary interprets the law. In UK, as per your constitutional structure, the most supreme organ of it all is the parliament, that means the legislature. There are two organs, or there are two chambers, House of Lords and House of Commons. House of Commons being powerful, especially after the parliamentary acts. What is the role of the executive? Whatever the laws which are created by the parliament, the executive enforces. Finally, what is the role of the judiciary? The judiciary will interpret the law. And also, judiciary will offer a certain level of protection to the individual right there. So, again, there is a separation of power between these organs. There is separation of power between the legislature and the executive and the judiciary and also the legislature. But in UK, there is no strict separation of power when compared to US. Especially because obviously the parliament is supreme. Then you have this concept of rule of law. Rule of law can be basically understood as protection of individual rights. But then there are again two views, content free and content rich. So when you're writing a rule of law answer, you need to put a lot of case law related to both ideology. Especially you should put Dicey, then again you start with Dicey but don't end with Dicey. Dicey you have to clash in with Jennings, then Paul Craig who talks about content rich, content free, then you go for Bingham, you can talk about Ross, Dworkin, Griffith. There are countless people in your textbook which you need to include in your answer. Rule of law answers are very author-based answers which should also have case law. Some great cases would be Entick versus Carrington, the case of GCHQ, the cases such as by Belmarsh, the case of Sabina Begum. So make sure when you discuss a rule of law answer, don't stick to Dicey's three views. The rule of law today is far grown than the Dicey's three limbs. Next, you students need to understand the impact to the system due to Human Rights Act 1998, which incorporates European Convention of Human Rights, and through the European Community Act of 1972, which links UK with the European Community, now known as the European Union. Again, this EU part will be out after Brexit. Finally, a great area for exam would be judicial review. What is judicial review? Judicial review is judiciary keeping eye on the executive. Executive cannot do everything they want. Executive uses your money. Executive has to stick to what is intra-virus. Executive cannot go ultra-virus. So if the executive acts ultra-virus, judiciary can get involved. Again, there are 3 grounds as per GCHQ: illegality, rationality, and proceeding impropriety, with proportionality being an upcoming ground. So finally, this entire structure, codification. Is this UK uncodified structure a very British concept? I would prefer you considering this not as unwritten but as uncodified, because there are many written elements of UK's constitution. So it's best, for example, you can look at cabinet manual, for example. So it's better you argue and answer the question with a focus on codification. Is it practical to codify all this? Secondly, what is the role played by convention? What are conventions? There are conventions for each organ. There are legislative conventions, executive conventions, judicial conventions. So what are conventions? Conventions are political practices. When you break a convention, you are being unconstitutional. When you break a law, you are being illegal. So how do you differentiate between the unwritten practices? What will happen to conventions if you codify? So these are the areas I would like you to focus for the exam. The constitution and the conventions with a focus on codification, rule of law, parliament supremacy and the impact of EU law and Human Rights Act, and even devolution to parliament supremacy, separation of power in UK, how separate is this? What is the level of fusion? How can you compare this with other systems such as the French system, the US system? What are the changes introduced by Human Rights Act? So they will usually ask you to focus on section 2, section 3, section 4. What is the impact of Brexit? Link it with EU law, direct effect, indirect effect, state liability. Finally, I would like you to focus on judicial review, because judicial review is a great way of promoting rule of law. So at the end of this lesson, I'm going to have a chart out for you. So if you click on the link down there, you can see a chart where I connect everything. Anyway, try to understand the public law as a connection of all this without trying to tackle them individually. If you understand how the entire thing works, you'll get a great score for a public exam. So thank you so much for listening to this. I wish you all the best for upcoming exams. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.